Good evening, Agile acquisition enthusiasts, and welcome back to the Underground Digital Tiki Bar. It has been another very long week fixing procurement in the federal government, and that means it's Friday night and time for an episode of Agile Acquisitions and Alcohol. So cheers. On tonight's episode, I'm going to talk about Agile development as a service. This is a concept that I've come up with to try and help address the great debate over contract type in Agile contracting. This is something that comes up in almost every engagement. There are lots of opinions on what is best. I will do other video blogs and articles that discuss the merits and drawbacks of each, but the reality is it doesn't matter. There's no such thing as the perfect contract type for Agile development. Any contract type can work if you structure it and work with it the right way. But here we're talking about a very specific approach that views the problem differently because it addresses the concerns that I hear all the time. I hear concerns about, from the industry side, how can we assure the resources are there, especially for small businesses. They don't have a very deep bench. How can they make sure they have the right people there for the right amount of time? I hear from government, how do we evaluate? How do we determine the appropriate level of capacity and what's that worth with different vendors? It all causes a lot of confusion and unnecessary pushback. But when we look at it as Agile development as a service, we start to think of it differently. And we can talk about it like we talk about platforms as a service or anything as a service. Because let's face it, these days, what isn't by a service? And so let's break this down. So Agile development services as a service has to provide you with a fixed level of capacity, an ability to scale, and then access to premium resources when you need them for urgent requirements. What does that look like in a contract? Well, here's one proposal. You could consider doing a fixed price CLIN for your base level support. This is their base level capacity, the things you know you're going to need week in, week out for a fixed period of time. This would cover your DevOps, your core team, 6 to 12 people, necessary management and oversight, and that's it. And then you have a T&M or level of effort CLIN that is pre-priced with a not to exceed. All of your labor categories are in the contract, and these resources are available at technical direction. From the company's perspective, think 50 to 70% time availability for these individuals, and at each iteration and sprint planning session, it would be determined which additional resources are necessary to complete the sprint requirements. Finally, you have your premium tier of support. This tier of support is not expected. It addresses the great known unknown. It will come up, but you don't know when, you don't know what it's going to look like. The purpose of this is to have a pre-priced activity. It could either be premium priced T&M labor categories in that same CLIN or an additional CLIN, either T&M or fixed price by iteration, turned on very quickly with a well-defined process. And this allows companies to have established mechanisms and plans to partner with other vendors, other companies to bring in additional resources for very short periods of time, or to leverage resources within their own company that may be mostly dedicated to other projects, but they can occasionally roll on for specific needs, very short deliverables, and then roll them off and return back to your basic level of support and then the necessary T&M additional support as needed. And there you have it. That's your contract structure. I welcome feedback. I encourage you to go out there and give it a try, experiment with this, because that's how we learn. Provide feedback. Let me know what you think works and doesn't work with this idea. If you're liking these videos, give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let me know other topics you'd like me to talk about. Of course, subscribe. And other than that, I'll see you next week. Cheers.